not just in the peripheral countries, but at the heartland as well, with the second successive drop in GDP for the second quarter. It's not just these statistics. The IMF themselves have come out and said they got it wrong. Their calculations were wrong. It's not surprising. We know that in the statistics that are out there. But what is surprising is that the European leaders are continuing in going down that path. And it really is a toss-up now whether the charge should be gross incompetence or criminal negligence, because there are consequences of these actions seen most desperately amongst the populations of Greece and so on, with the shrinking of that economy and the desperate hardship, but everywhere else across Europe as well. We have the madness of 3 trillion euros, massive amounts of monies uninvested, hoarded by private interests, not invested in job creation, while 25 million people are unemployed. And that is the contradiction really at the heart of the EU, and I don't see any way forward or being pointed going out based on this meeting. It's clear that the meeting is taking place against the backdrop of emerging differences between a lot of the leaderships, rather than really addressing the problems in Greece and Spain. The Germans are pushing for more fiscal discipline, more surrendering of economic autonomy, and I'd like to know what the Taoiseach's response is going to be to that situation, because it's totally clear now that it's not a case of if the Greeks will exit from the euro, but when they do, what will the effect of contagion and so on be in the likes of Spain or on Italy. And it is clear that even in the heartland of Germany itself, there are divisions. The predominant interests want to keep it together, because from a German point of view, if the Germans were to exit the Eurozone, they would have serious problems. They'd be facing a strong Deutschmark, competitively disadvantaged, if you like, in a shrinking market of a crisis-ridden Eurozone that they'd be selling onto. So it's not in their interest to do that. But we have a contradiction, because the summit is tinkering around the edges, looking at issues like the banking situation, looking at the ECB increasing its supervisory role and so on, while, as Deputy Adams said, at the same time demanding commitments and contracts on an annual basis in relation to structural reforms in the labour market and so on. I don't see any way out on this unless the banking debt is dealt with. I think the key thing really at this stage is there's probably a more important meeting taking place in Europe tomorrow, and that's a meeting of the European Trade Union Council, which represents 60 million workers across Europe. They're meeting in Spain tomorrow, and they are putting forward the idea of an international movement of ordinary people throughout Europe, of putting the interests of workers and ordinary people, public investment in jobs and job creation, rather than in bailing out failed banks.
Now to reply to the debate.